Many thanks for accepting our invite on innovative financing with a special focus on climate change. Could you maybe explain the different facilities and different mandates?
I am from the Green Climate Fund, the GCF. It is the largest international climate fund in the world. It was created through UNFCCC mechanism to assist developing countries under the Paris Agreement to help them meet their NDCs and NAPs. There's also, of course, the Climate Investment Fund, established in 2008. And the GEF is one of our other partners. That is the Global Environmental Facility. It looks at biodiversity. And for GCF, we see the nexus between climate change and biodiversity and climate mitigation. And so we offer quite a number of products that are linked to nature. Nature-based solutions, and they come in different forms. About a year ago, we received approval from our board, for instance, to fund RED 2, which is the reforestation of degraded soil lands. It allows us to pay investors $8 per ton for the investment they've made in. It's a performance-based system. But the GCF generally has a number of financial products available, starting from the very early stages of readiness funding, preparation funding to make projects bankable, as well as various financial instruments, concessional funding and equity and the like.
On Saturday, you mentioned the very important role of technology in the innovative financing. Could you summarize your thoughts?
For me, I believe strongly that innovation is what will take us to where we need to be. ICT transformation has really transformed every sector globally. But in the case of the climate change agenda, we haven't really leveraged the potential of ICT in transforming the way we do climate business. We really need to look at how we use evidence-based data, how we connect data using IoT infrastructure, data analytics, not only to gather data, but to predict. Africa has a strategic role to play. We have a lot of talents. If you look at the demographic dividends, a lot of our youth are involved in this IT revolution. And so we need to leverage that and use it to transform the way we measure, let's say, air pollution, smart agriculture, smart infrastructure.
All these tools are very important, but countries need to use them strategically. They should not be afterthought when they appear in financial stress and liquidity pressures to say, oh, can we innovate? That's too late, and the conditions would not be favorable. So all these also, the debt swap and the relatively new instruments, including the green stock exchange. So there needs to be a strategic approach to development of the financial sector. We have recently done some new estimates of the SDG gap, and we came up with number approaching $1 trillion US dollars a year between now and 2030, the gap annually. And then the gap for climate change is anywhere between 200 billion to 400 billion a year. So we need a lot of investment. And Africa is getting very low share of international climate funding, even though they are the most impacted and they contributed very little to climate change. What are your thoughts on that? How can innovative funding help?
Where innovative funding can really help is when it responds to what the demands and the challenges are in a particular country. On the African continent, we know there are a few challenges. For instance, sovereigns are burdened by debt and cost of borrowing. So introducing products like debt for climate facility swaps is a very effective tool, an innovative tool, and can be applied across the board to different challenges and almost emergencies in a particular country that's been impacted by climate change. And you can do that through country platforms, deciding bottom up from a country, what is their priority, and then setting up a secretariat, and you can get funding from that, from the GCF, of course. We'll provide readiness funding to help set up country platforms and determining how you're going to address a particular challenge and demand in a country.
If you look at the way we've done business over the past decade or so, it's very clear we need a paradigm shift. And we have to look at basically 4 drivers of paradigm shift. Strategic planning and programming is very key. How do we empower the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning to really bring in innovation in terms of how the mainstream climate information into the processes? We also need to look at climate innovation. How do we really use existing or develop new systems that are relevant to our African context. And then we need to scale our finance. We need blended finance architecture. We need a number of innovative tools. For example, we have innovative solutions like you take the case of Boîte Locale, a project we just approved. That looks at how we mobilize local finance, local action, together with blended finance, bringing in microfinance institutions, private sector at the local level, and government to come up with solutions that can transform the way we do business. We need to also look at how to leverage on the local knowledge that exists within the areas that you need to access.
I think that's a really important point. So we start with the knowledge product and we move then to application, etc. And I must say, with our meeting with ministers and representative of the ministers of finance, they all ask about these innovative tools. It's really important for them.